Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Sunday, May 2nd. I'm back in New York after my 4-day visit to California. I had a great time. Hiked up Mount Baldy, 10,000 feet, well, 9,570 feet. Getting ready, 12 more days until my Grand Canyon hike, rim to rim, in 1 day. All right, let's talk a little bit about what's going on. So, as you know, I've been talking a lot about investor and the media's fixation on the Fed. And again, I'll just remind everybody, the Fed is a bank. I mean, it basically does three things. It lends money against assets, collateral, right? It regulates the financial system, the banking system. That's a really important job. And a lot of times it's kind of lax, on that responsibility. I mean, the whole financial crash back in 2007, 2009 could have been avoided if the Fed did its job as a regulator, all right? So it lends money against assets, it regulates the banking system, and also it's a price setter by virtue of its rate setting function. And it's a monopolist in that regard, and you really have to think of it as the Fed and the government combined. So those are the three things. Now everybody's, talking about the Fed and pumping up the markets, and they're juicing, they're pumping, they're juicing, they're pumping, right? And nobody is talking about the fiscal. Now, Warren Buffett was out, made a statement. I don't know if it was one of his annual, talks that he gives to his investors or something, but he said that 0% interest rates have fundamentally transformed the financial markets. They made the stock market go up. They helped the economy. They made the electorate feel good. That's what he's saying. And what struck me in that was there was absolutely no mention of fiscal. Now, I said this the other day, that $6 trillion in personal savings, boop, just appeared out of nowhere. 6 trillion, like we had 6 trillion in personal savings last year at the first stimulus when Trump was in office. Then it came down a little bit. People pay taxes, that drains out some of those savings. Then we just had another stimulus, two actually, the last one just before Trump exited the White House, and then with the Biden, and then, it's back up over 6 trillion. Like, no mention of that whatsoever. Now, you got to understand something. And by the way, this is a setup for what I think could be a major, major amount of frustration on the part of a lot of financial, professionals, if they call themselves, because they're just going to be looking at the Fed. Maybe at some point the Fed is going to raise interest rates. Or two things could happen. The Fed could stay where it is and the inflation never really develops. And I know a lot of you have been telling me, hey, Mike, look at lumber, look at copper. These things are true. And I've said this is a pandemic-related, a shortage-related issue. If you look at the term structure of these commodities, by term structure, I'm saying look at the futures market and go out along the curve. All right? Not like spot prices, but go out along the curve. All of these commodities are showing lower prices in the future. And these markets are pretty good at predictive, when you look at these, the term structure of these markets. They're all showing lower prices in the future. All right? The backwardation is now because we got supply constraints and bottlenecks and this and that. But if you go out along the term structure, it's all lower prices in lumber, lower prices in copper. I mean, all of them, all right? So that's number one. I forgot what I was going to say now, but anyway. Oh yeah, so two things could happen. Either the Fed doesn't raise, and all these inflation bets are going to go bust. All right? Because I said before that there's going to be enormous frustration and losses that are going to come out of this myopic focus on the Fed and a lack of understanding. The second thing that could happen, maybe at some point the Fed raises interest rates And the market's still going to go up because you're going to have that fiscal. The fiscal is everything. I keep saying that. I should just have a shirt made up saying fiscal is everything. All right? So, yeah. So, like Buffett, I mean, come on, man. Now, I get it. He's getting up there in age. You know, I don't know necessarily if policy is his thing. I don't know how much he understands MMT, even if that would make any difference. I don't even hear the MMT people saying anything about that, except for me. They're pretty much silent. I mean, all of them say they're not political, but yet, I don't know, I think taking a silent stand, I don't know. I can't figure it out. So here he is saying, you know, it's all about the Fed. The Fed made everybody happy. The electorate is feeling good. The electorate is feeling good because you had a $6 trillion transfer. I'm back in New York. You had a $6 trillion transfer. Hang on. I don't want to stop the video because it is. You had a $6 trillion transfer to the non-government. That's all of us, right? So no mention of that? I mean, when the banks get bailed out to the tune of trillions, we hear about this all the time, all the time. Look at the banks, they're getting bailed out. By the way, if you want to talk about the banks, here's something interesting. That $6 trillion transfer, because of the, you know, the checks that are being sent out and other means of support, you know, unemployment benefits, all those means of support, it's costing the banks. You know why? Because people have money. They don't need to tap credit. They don't have to go begging to the banks for credit and pay those fees and pay that interest because they're flush with cash. Now, I know some people are going to get mad at me because they say, well, I didn't get any, Mike, and I understand that. That's a political issue. You know, what I'm saying is that the ability of the government to supply funds to people is there. And unfortunately, for a long time, it's been given to those with the least amount of need. But now we're starting to see some of that flow go to people in need. And that's all I'm saying. I'm saying, like, if Buffett is saying this, it's all about the Fed. It's all about the Fed. It's all about the Fed. It's all about, you know, what's the Fed going to do? I mean, I'm sitting over here watching all this, thinking, man, this is great. I mean, you got all these people over here talking about this thing and totally focused on this thing, and it's the wrong thing to be focused on. Like, they're not seeing right in front of their noses is this giant answer to the puzzle. Like, here it is. And they're all looking over here. Here's money, take it. They're all looking over here and thinking, what's going on? What's the Fed going to do? What? So there you go. That's what's going on. Anyway, I'm back from California, back on my regular schedule. Tomorrow, the new issue of MMT Trader will be coming out. So have a great rest of the Sunday, and I'll see you tomorrow, everybody. Bye.